The corner position is my favorite position to talk about. With me doing my post-Senior Bowl positional rankings for the 2023 NFL Draft, I'm so happy to be able to talk about the corner position again. What's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. As always, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that nice, beautiful football discourse. I'm gonna be giving you my top 10 today, and you could actually check out my top 20 on Twitter. So go follow me. I'm a good follow. Special thanks to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring the video. When you use promo code Broshmo, when you sign up for Underdog Fantasy, they will match your first deposit up to $100. So remember, sign up with promo code Broshmo. Or if you're already an existing user, then they got one heck of a deal for you for the big game. When you go to make your pick'em entries, they're going to give you a free square in those pick'em entries in the form of Jalen Hurts higher than 0.5 yards. So go check that out. As always, remember, my friends, bet responsibly. Let's get into this with number 10, Eli Ricks out of Alabama. This was actually his first year at Alabama. He's 6'2", 190, formerly an LSU Tiger, but decided to transfer last season. He was caught in he was arrested in the off season for speeding, no insurance. Thank you, my lovely wife. I'm having food. But speeding, no insurance, and what was it? Oh yeah, possession of like almost close to no marijuana. So whoops-a-daisies. But this is the only red flag that I've seen from him. I say only red flag. This is the only arrest I've ever seen from him. It didn't play a factor in why he didn't start right away. It was there for Alabama this year. It was actually he was nursing a nagging back injury on top of getting acclimated to the defense. But his first start came against Mississippi State. I think it was in week 8. And dude had like 4 pass breakups. He had a banger game. The following week against LSU was a little rough, but he had 5 starts in the season, decided to go ahead and declare it. Here we are now. Now, we know that this cat is a very physical corner. Very physical. He's going to probably test out with really good length. He knows how to stick into the hip pockets of receivers. He does a great job at the line of scrimmage of jamming guys. He does possess very strong hands. And I just love that whole mentality. If I put hands on you, you're only going to be as fast as I'm willing to let you. I love that. That's something that just translates to the NFL. He's showed legit ball skills. Didn't see an interception this year, but we have seen the ball skills in the past. Really going back to his freshman year. Last year, he was also a little banged up and a little hurt. So, I mean, it was just good to see him healthy at the end of the year. I don't think there's really going to be any injury concerned with him if that is going to be if that's a question for any of y'all out there. I think really the question is going to be his speed. Like, what's his long field speed look like? He can be a bit stiff in his transition, coming out of his back pedal, opens his hips a little bit too early, gets turned around, so you could probably see maybe twitchier receivers or shiftier receivers. Could probably put him in a blender early, but you also got the missed tackle rate. Like, he's a very willing tackler. He just needs to do a better job of finishing the tackle. He was flagged twice in the LSU game. He is a bit handsy. He had 4 penalties this year in those 5 starts. Going back last year, he had only 2 penalties, but I don't recall how many games he played the following year. But like, you look at him from the build to what he does as a technician, like, he's got it to be an NFL corner. It's really going to be, how does he test out? All right, next one on the list, Clark Phillips. This is going to break people's hearts that I got him this low, but it's a really good corner class. I got him as a top 75 prospect. It's really going to be his size that really hurts him. 5'10", 183. Had a banger season this year, but did give up quite a bit of yards. But he had 6 interceptions. He actually had consecutive pick sixes in 2 games. Went pick 6, and the next game pick 6. So that's super cool. But don't let his size fool you. Like, he will get physical with bigger receivers on the outside. It's just, well, that lack of size, it's going to be it's gonna be a challenge to overcome that. And there are times where it does look like he kind of gets tossed around by those more physical receivers. And I do like the approach that he's willing to sit in the grill of anybody. He comes downhill really hard. He comes downhill like just with mean intentions. If you go back to 2021 where he faced Drake London, he did a great job of shutting Drake London down. So much so that to get Drake London involved, they were using him on screenplays. Because even on like 7 to 10 yard routes, man, Phillips was there. Like, he's got very quick feet. He shows really good anticipation. I really like. I think he's probably gonna. He's gonna be a bit scheme specific ish. Like, I think he's gonna have to go to a team that's more of this off coverage zone heavy scheme. If your other teams, you're probably looking at him at a slot. He might not be right for every scheme, but man, this guy's got good ball skills. He's got a good nose for the football. As a tackler, we're coming up as a run defender. He's more of a shoot himself like a rocket, opposed to like trying to drag people down. He tries to kind of lay the lumber or take guys out at the legs. That's just kind of him. When it comes down to it, it's gonna be how will he deal with physicality in the NFL. We've seen smaller corners prevail in the NFL and on the outside. So, I mean, you think like first guy that comes to mind. I mean, there's like a Troy Hill. Was it Darius Williams? I'm pretty sure is a bit undersized at 5'9". So we've seen smaller corners have success on the outside, so I'm not too worried about that when it comes to Phillips. But yeah, got him here as a top 75. Again, it's just a really good corner class, so like some guys are just going to get pushed down for maybe more toolsy players. So on top of that, let's go to Cam Smith here as a top 50 prospect. Big fan of Cam Smith, former 4-star recruit out of the 2019 recruiting class. He's 6 foot 188, only allowed a little over 200 yards this past season, had 6 pass breakups and an interception. Did miss a game with a hamstring injury, and then he opted out of I think the final game of the year. No, he opted out. Yeah, the bowl game. So essentially the final game of the year. But I'm a big fan of Cam Smith. I love the physicality which he plays with, and he does it throughout the whole route. He's physical during the route, and then he's physical at the catch point. And even when receivers are trying to finish the catch, like, he will have his hand in there trying to jar the ball loose. I love that mentality, though penalties will be a problem. Like, he had 10 penalties this past season, so that he needs to be a bit more discreet during the route with that. But again, the ball skills are amazing. You jump to last year, he had 3 interceptions, 9 pass breakups. Like, if a receiver catches the ball on him, it is because he has earned it. He has earned it. He has that peanut punch. Charles Tillman, man, big fan. I think his recognition and the way he reads and reacts is pretty darn quickly. He just plays with this moxie, this confidence. You just love, man. It's not just he thinks he's the best player out there. He demands to be recognized as such, man. He's not scared of anybody. I just love that about him. He's also very relentless in pursuit. I think the question with people will be answered at the combine exactly, is this guy top 50 or should we be bringing him back in the first round conversation, is going to come at the combine and how he tests out as an athlete compared to some of these other corners. But big fan of Cam Smith. He had a relatively solid season this past year. All right, on to number 7, Deontay Banks. This is admittedly not a guy, not someone I've been exceptionally high on, and a lot of that stems from there were a few games I'm watching and I kind of questioned the guy's effort, especially when he thinks the play's not coming his way. But he's 6'2", 205, and he's a wonderful athlete. Like, he's a very fluid athlete, a fluid mover. He will stick with receivers downfield. He does a good job at sticking in their hip pocket, and he has shown very good ball skills. He had 8 pass breakups and interception this past year. I think last year he had a red shirt because of a shoulder injury before the season. So, but another guy that's very physical. Like, I'm going to put hands on you, you're only going to be as fast as I'm willing to let you. Another guy that could get flagged for his overt physicality. He had 8 penalties called on him this past year. But, I mean, the dude's got a huge frame. Like, he's very tough at the line of scrimmage. NFL teams are going to love that. They're going to just love that about him. They're going to salivate. He also brings a good amount of experience with him. And versus the run, he does a good job of freeing himself off of blocks. Like, he is a physical player. There are times where I feel like he does find himself a step behind plays, or like in routes, and because of that overt physicality and just that overall aggression. So he'll find himself a step behind, and he has to take cues from the receiver of if the ball's coming my way and when is it going to arrive here. Because I didn't think there was a ton of cases where he was making a play on the ball, but rather he was making a play on where he thought the ball was going to be based on what he was seeing from the receiver. So, I mean, outside of that, really the thing that got stuck in my craw, man, was just like, felt like sometimes he takes plays off, sometimes he just lacks urgency if he feels out of the play. And I kind of had that same problem with Joey Porter in a game against Maryland back in 2021. And at the end of the day, I think I still had Joey Porter, at least in my preseason rankings, still around like as a first round, but I kind of probably saw him a little as a later first round guy. So it's like Deontay Banks is the guy everyone's hyping up. After he tests out, it's probably going to be warranted. And yeah, I mean, if you're just looking at he plays physical and he's quick and he's fast, it's like great size. It's like kind of warrants to be like at least a fringe first rounder. So that's kind of where I'm at. I decided to put him over Cam Smith because I do think Banks is the better athlete. He had less penalties this year, which was nice, but it was a really close call. Those two are very close in my rankings. Next on the list, Tyreke Stevenson from the U. I'm a Hurricanes fan, and I love it sometimes. I love it earlier in the year, you know. First couple of games, and then they're out of it. But he's 6 foot, 204, had a very impressive Senior Bowl where he did look like the best corner out there. He was consistently, I would say, contesting the catch point, contesting receivers. His guesswork out there on some of those routes where he wasn't necessarily behind on the route, but he would jump where he thought the receiver was going next, and he just continuously like guessed correctly. So he has a bit of that high risk, high reward mentality to him. He's a former Georgia player where Georgia was really just using him in the slot. Then he goes to Miami to play on the outside, but also to get closer to home, man. He's from Miami, but he has great size, great length. You disagree, Gojo? I can't believe I have a dog that hates all my teams. You hate the Dolphins, you hate the Hurricanes. I swear. But he's explosive downhill and off coverage. I love the short area quicks. I've had enough of your sass, bud. Oh, Gojo, come here, buddy. Here, you want some loving? Oh, you just want attention. Oh, you want to jump in? Okay, come jump in the shot. But come on, I gotta finish this video. All right, hey everybody, this is Gojo. If you don't know Gojo, man, it's a mascot of he's basically a member of the channel, man. He's basically my co-host. He's Underdog Fantasy's mascot. Don't have the yellow scarf around him, but Yeah. All right, Gojo. Let me finish this video. Thanks, buddy. I love your input and everything, but I gotta get through this. You smell my food. That's what it is. You're just hungry. He has experience playing the slot, playing in the box. Thanks to his days at Georgia. He relishes contact, which is no surprise, just given his size, 6', 204. One of the hardest hitting corners, I would say, in this class. He also shows good ball skills, and if this guy gets an interception, he is liable to take it to the house. Like, he has return ability. He's like a power back, man. Like, this isn't a guy that's going to be trying to like run around the field to get extra yards. He will lower the shoulder, and I kind of love that. Now, he does throw his body out a bit recklessly. Kind of like it led to a big tackle rate, or a big missed tackle rate the last 2 years. It was 17.2 in 2021. It was 15.6 this past season. There are times where he can get it too aggressive, and I don't know, he guesses wrong, falls for whether it's the receiver's double move or the eye candy he's looking at from the quarterback, and he gets toasted. But he's very explosive. I think this showing at the Senior Bowl really helped kind of cement him as a top 50 guy. Could be a fringe first rounder. Big fan. I love my Hurricanes. What can I say? All right, next on the list is Emmanuel Forbes out of Mississippi State, 6 foot, 180. He is Mr. Pick Six. He set the record for most pick sixes in a career with 6. He had 3 this year. Will Levis, nonetheless. It was on a screenplay too. Woof. Back when they were, they ended up winning that game. But it actually ignited Mississippi State to try to come roaring back in that game. Eventually, didn't happen, but it is what it is. Dude's got great length, really. He's kind of a pterodactyl. He plays the ball exceptionally well in air, no kidding. Over the course of his career, he has 17 pass breakups and 14 interceptions. 6 of those going for pick sixes, by the way. And he's just very dangerous when he picks off a play. He's liable to obviously take it to the house. He does a good job mirroring receivers. He explodes downhill. He does a very good job of navigating through traffic. Back in 2021, he led all corners in college football in defensive stops with 32. He's not necessarily like I think he's a good enough tackler, because you look at his frame and he's wiry. So you don't think he'll probably be the most consistent tackler, but I think he does a good job of wrapping up and securing tackles. And he shows good anticipation. And big fan. He's played there under Zach Arnett's defensive scheme, which is very zone heavy. So he's very fluent in a lot of zone coverages. Doesn't mean he can't play man. There are times where he can be a bit too slow to like read and react. That was more so the case in 2021, and that resulted in some busted coverages, some holding penalties. He had 6 penalties this past season. But man, big fan of Forbes, man. Like I said, liable pick six. This is another fringe first rounder we're talking about. I can't wait to see how he performs at the combine. And then number 4, we got Keeley Ringo out of Georgia. I got him as a first rounder. I'm a fan. A lot of people are trying to jump ship on him. I'm not. Did have 9 penalties this year, so ugh. But former 5-star recruit from the 2020 class. You could go back to his pick 6 to seal the game in the national championship back in 2021. This year he did make a second team all SEC. He's just got great size and great speed. 6'2", 210. He's gonna run in the low 4.4s, and some people say even sub 4.4, which is just nuts. And you can see that closing speed that helps keep him in plays. You saw it in 2021 against Jameson Williams, where he thought he had safety help, so he played a bit more physically on the line. Williams got behind him, and I believe it was Christopher Smith that was actually the safety that was just late to his spot, And still, Ringo almost came back and made a play against Williams. Like, he's got that closing speed. He's got ridiculous straight line speed. He really, really, really does. And I think he uses his hands well during the route. Like this year, there were times where he would play off because he's got, I don't know, it seemed like he was scared to get beat deep this year, and he would get beat a lot underneath. And then there were times where he did get beat this year because he was a bit too aggressive, biting on double moves and such. But I think Ringo, with his body type, with how he's going to test out, it's just going to work in the NFL. We saw it from a guy like Tyreke Woolen this past year, and Ringo's just got the better pedigree, for a 5-star recruit. Now, he's also one of the, he comes downhill with like just bad intentions. He's one of the more sure tackling corners in this class with a 12.2% missed tackle rate. Might be more of a linear athlete than laterally, so that'll be interesting to see how he does in the agility drills at the combine. But yeah, it wasn't an ideal season for Ringo, but still, you kind of bet on those tools. Like, his length's going to be ridiculous. All right, on to the top 3. Joey Porter, top 20 prospect in this class. And I know he's going to be first in some of y'all's hearts. He is the son of future Hall of Famer Joey Porter Sr. He also does a lot of volunteer work. He actually wants to take over his mother's business, which helps with children. He regularly volunteers at homeless shelters and partakes in special needs activities. Bottom line, this dude's just a great, he's just a great human being. 6'2", 194. He has ideal length and size to be a press corner in the NFL. He likes to get after the receiver, and his mentality is that fit for a press heavy scheme, whether that's in coverage or whether that's in zone or man coverage. He's played a good amount of off coverage too there at Penn State. I think he does a good job of shadowing receivers. He's tough to block in the run game, and he's just a competitor. He really is. He's had a knack of getting his hand around the football. 9 pass breakups this season. If you go back to last year, he had 3 pass breakups and an interception. Penalties were a lot better this season. I liked seeing him a bit more discreet as with his physicality, as he had 10 penalties called on him in 2021. That dropped to 3 this year. So you'll have to see that. And he can be a bit high in his back pedal, and it kind of takes away from his downhill burst. So that's why I kind of like him maybe a bit better in press. I still think, again, he could be a guy that gets flagged a lot for that physical nature. And honestly, I think he's a guy that could probably play in a variety of different schemes. I do think in zone he needs to do a better job of reading and reacting instead of just kind of playing his assignment. And I brought up the Maryland game from 2021, which that's kind of neither here or there. I thought he did a very good job this season. I think he's very solid. I don't necessarily think he's probably gonna. I don't think he's gonna test out as as good of as an athlete as the next 2 guys on this list, but he's definitely well worth a top 20 selection. On to number 2, Devon Witherspoon. This is basically 1A and 1B for the time being, because I love these next 2 prospects. Devon Witherspoon is 6 foot 183. Let's see how he ends up weighing out at the combine and how he tests out. Those are probably the 2 things I'm the most intrigued with right now at this point. But he was an unranked recruit out of the 2019 class. He's also the younger brother of Akello, who plays for Pittsburgh. But Witherspoon walked on to Illinois and ended up playing such a significant role on special teams. He even made a few starts his freshman season. But he's got a ton of special team experience because of just those first few seasons as he made his way into becoming a starter. But this dude has I think he's got ideal length. He plays with a lot of speed. He's very sticky in man coverage, and he's just got greasy hips. Like, in off coverage, he comes downhill very fast with a head of steam, Everyone knows that hit he laid on, it was on a screen against Sean Shivers of Indiana. Like, everyone points to that, like, oh my gosh, he was there so quick, he almost beat the ball being there. But it, like, just delivered a disgusting hit. He's been a very solid tackler, 11.4 missed tackle rate, a very good run defender. He takes good angles, and he works well in traffic. And, I mean, I imagine a lot of that comes from his early special teams experience. He's just good in that regard, man. He plays to the whistle. There's no quit. There's a lot to like about him coming into the year. I think more people were questioning his potential ball skills, but he, like, I mean, if you go back last year, I thought his ball skills were all right? Like, he had 6 pass breakups. Like, oh man, I'd like to see him around the ball more, maybe have interceptions. Well, 14 pass breakups, 3 interceptions. I don't think that's a concern for people now. If anything, it's the size. You want to see him maybe put a little bit more mass on. But again, that's kind of neither here or there. It's not that big of a concern. It's not like he's like 5'9", 183. You know, he's 6 foot. He's got a frame that can put on a little bit more bulk. I do think he could be a bit clunky in his transitions and could probably play lower in his back pedal. So again, just a technique thing that's a real easy fix, but he had a phenomenal year. Legitimately first team All-American. I think the hype's all warranted. I got him as a top 10 prospect, and like I said, he's 1B to Christian Gonzalez, who is my 1A. I absolutely love Christian Gonzalez. He was a guy I looked at later in my summer deep dive because I saw him in a first round mock, and I was like, man, this guy's stupid interesting. I ended up making Bruce Feldman's freaks list. 6'2", 201, originally from Colorado. Ended up making the move to Oregon this past season, and he did a phenomenal job, man. He really did. He's got track speed. Like, he ran track and field. He had a 21.6 second in the 200 meters in the Texas State Championships his high school year. But he's got speed at 6'2", 201. He's got size. He's this good blend of size, speed, and athleticism. He sinks real low in his back pedal, explodes downhill. He shows good short area quickness. I think he shows toughness in the run game, and a lot of people question his toughness throughout his routes. I think there's a willingness when he tries to lay hands on receivers, but there are times where receivers will get the best of him in the physicality. But I like that the effort's there, and he's already a guy that has natural bulk. So if the willingness is there, so I think you can get this guy to play a bit more physical, lay hands a bit better on corners. And I will say penalties have never really been a problem with this cat throughout his career. Only 2 penalties this past season. But I think ideally he's one of the best press corners in this class. I think he's got good press technique. He has the speed to hang with legitimately everybody. Now, the thing is that there are times he gets caught slowing down towards a ball carrier if he thinks he's out of the play. Again, here's me nitpicking effort and crap. But it's something you consider, especially if you're kind of like trying to separate these prospects. It kind of is what it is. I like to see him. I said at the beginning of the year, I like to see him do a better job of putting himself in better position to make a play on the ball. And I think he did a phenomenal job of that the second half of the season. He ended up ending the season with 4 interceptions, 6 pass breakups, and a lot of that did come in the second half of the season. And I think he did just such a better job at that. Such an improvement. I think this is a cat that could come in and eventually be like a top 10 corner of the league. He has that build. He has that ability. That's why he is my 1A to Devon Witherspoon's 1B. He is a top 10 selection for me. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. That's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube thing. And as always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.